did I do that?
I don't know
I
why
was
you
supposed
did
to
that.
come out here and
You're supposed to be happy. This is how you have trouble with happiness? Is that hard for you?
I'll tell you what bugged me was your fake concern there. The way he leaned in and you squinted your face. Okay, do you have trouble being happy? No, I don't have a problem being happy. I have a great time being happy as long as nobody asks me that question. Yeah.
Imagine Bill Burr stepping onto late-night television with the comedic force of a flamethrower aimed straight at the most fragile ego in the room. The result? Pure chaos. Burr doesn't simply toss a few jokes Jimmy Kimmel's way, he roasts him to perfection, leaving behind a plate of embarrassment as the main course. This isn't about stand-up comedy anymore. It feels more like a wrecking match. Kimmel's career is the vehicle caught in the crash, and Burr is the one behind the wheel. The laughter comes hard and fast, but it's sharp enough to sting, so buckle up, because Bill Burr has turned Jimmy Kimmel into the centerpiece of his comedy arena, and the crowd can't look away.
Narcissists, sociopaths, all of this type of stuff. Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
So what's your take on this? You should have one, because it's impossible not to enjoy the show. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. The support means more than you'd expect. Now picture this. At what felt like a backyard cookout turned comedy battle, Bill Burr treated late night television like his personal punching bag. And when Burr, the living, breathing version of a leather-jacketed fireball, sets his sights on Jimmy Kimmel, you know the night isn't ending quietly. This isn't friendly ribbing, it's Burr at full throttle, sparking chaos and leaving the audience caught between laughter and shock. It just...
Narcissist, neutral energy.
Yeah. You think he'd go away?
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote The Twist, and then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist is back. Yeah.
Jimmy's temper once again takes center stage, but this wasn't just a casual jab. Bill Burr went scorched earth, delivering the kind of verbal wrecking job that could earn him a spot on Hollywood's ego demolition team. And who stood in the wreckage? None other than Jimmy Kimmel, the man who often parades himself as the nation's moral compass, dressed in a suit while offering political quips with all the rhythm of a broken microwave. Yet, he flashes the same grin as if he's solved humanity's greatest problems, waiting for applause from an audience that paid in pizza and patience.
With 100 not wins, you want to do that? You want to do that at night, you lunatic?
How are you?
This was definitely
Burr would tell a different story. To him, that smug grin wasn't confidence, it was a piñata waiting to be cracked open. Only instead of candy, out poured raw humiliation. The wildest part? Burr barely looked like he was trying. That's where the comedy hits hardest. He isn't out to ruin anyone, yet the second he starts talking, somebody's career suddenly needs life support.
I think once you start calling somebody that like that whole, oh my God, is that the guy from that show, is out the window. And you just want to win the argument. Maybe when they drive away, they're like, hey, isn't that guy from Comedy Central? No, they don't know how to get into a lane. They get 3/4 of their car in, and then their back fender is in the lane, and you beep at them, and then they look at you, and they give you the finger.
They strutted around as if untouchable until Burr showed up with a comedic jackhammer, reminding everyone that humor is supposed to make people laugh, not nod along out of guilt. Now picture Kimmel at his desk, papers stacked high, tie crooked, reading a monologue that feels like it was stitched together by interns raised entirely on TikTok. The delivery lands flat. Then enters Bill Burr. With the raw edge of a Boston cabbie fresh off being cut off in traffic, Burr shattered the entire format. Kimmel never stood a chance. His image began unraveling almost instantly, and that's when the real fun started. Burr didn't just poke at the surface, he pulled back the curtain and exposed the machine behind late night TV, showing that these shows aren't bold and they're certainly not groundbreaking.
As you were driving, you were cursing at people, at other drivers, and yelling at them from the car. Do you ever find yourself in a situation where they recognize you after you've yelled at them from the car?
I'm in my head, so I'm looking out, so I'm not seeing me. I'm just seeing what they're doing. And it just annoys.
It's like watching your uncle buy a motorcycle at 50 only to ride it once a week to church. Rebellious in theory, tame in practice. That's the kind of risk late night hosts pretend to take. The only real danger, spilling a Starbucks on the guest's lap. Burr, on the other hand, has built his career on torching entire crowds And somehow, people adore him more for it. When he drags a sacred cow across the stage, the audience doesn't flinch. They beg for seconds. Meanwhile, Kimmel cycles through the same tired playbook. A teary-eyed speech with piano music swelling in the background, a clunky slideshow, and awkward celebrity questions that everyone knows he didn't write. That's the show. Then came Burr, tearing that formula apart like discarded wrapping paper on Christmas morning. The audience felt it. You could practically hear living rooms erupt, viewers pounding their couches after years of yelling at their screens. Because let's face it, late night has become about as thrilling as watching beige paint dry after a rainy day. Burr just ripped the curtain down and proved it.
Thing like, well, I'm in the lane, so like.
You think it's an LA thing or is it an everywhere thing?
It's a self-involved thing. I don't know what it is, but it's just, yeah. I'm kind of known with all of my friends for that.
You're known for that.
If you call me and I'm in the car, we're gonna be talking, and it's gonna be normal, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna be like, lady, go! Which is always funny if I'm talking to a woman, because then she thinks I'm no, not you, the person.
Burr became the antidote. With the reckless energy of someone unafraid to torch every Hollywood bridge, he delivered the truth straight up. And let's be clear, Kimmel wasn't some random pick. Burr knew exactly what he was doing. Kimmel has become everything Burr despises. Cushioned by ABC paychecks, smug in his seat, convinced he speaks for everyday Americans, that arrogance made him an easy target. Burr thrives on exposing hypocrisy, and he ripped apart Kimmel's paper-thin act of relatability. Think of it like this. Burr walks into the late-night cafeteria, scans the room, and asks, "Who's the softest kid here?" Then he smacks the tray right out of Kimmel's hands. The crash wasn't just humiliating, it made the rest of the late-night crew glance nervously over their shoulders. Fallon, Myers, Colbert, all suddenly aware they could be next. Because Burr has a reputation, nobody is untouchable. He's like the IRS of comedy. You can't hide forever. He'll eventually come knocking. And Kimmel's reaction? Predictable. He brushed it off as if nothing happened. Classic move. But everyone noticed.
Get 3/4 of their car in, and then their back fender is in the lane, and you beep at them, and then they look at you, and they give you the finger like you're the problem. Like, it's that LA thing, like, well, I'm in the lane, so like.
You think it's an LA thing, or is it every...
The problem with Burr's shots is simple. They stick. They echo long after the punchline lands. Every time Kimmel forces a grin or tries to drop a joke, Burr's words come rushing back. You can't unhear them. It's the classic, emperor has no clothes, except in this case, the emperor has no sense of humor. And here's the kicker. Burr didn't need a shiny desk, a TV network, or a polished stage. Even if he had said the same thing while waiting in line at Dunkin', it would have hit harder than Kimmel's entire season. That's the power of authenticity. Burr's fury hits like nuclear energy, raw, unpredictable, and unforgettable. Kimmel's monologues, by comparison, fizzle like 4th of July sparklers. Cute for a second, gone the next. The imbalance here is absurd. On one side, you've got Burr, the junkyard dog of comedy, rough around the edges, turning everyday annoyances into Olympian-sized rants. On the other, you've got Kimmel, who's managed to shape his career into one long bedtime story for people who want to laugh without ever feeling uncomfortable. This wasn't a fight. It was Mike Tyson stepping into the ring with a middle school gym teacher who just polished off a turkey lunch. Kimmel's main priority is safety. Safe interviews, safe jokes, safe scandals. The only real danger from him is if you fall asleep before the first commercial break.
It's something I have learned. I've learned how to win an argument.
You have?
As a man. Well, if you're right. If you're wrong, you got to apologize. But if you're right, you don't argue with them. You let them win. You let it end on that last psycho thing that they said that had nothing to do with the argument. Let it sit on that. You don't take the bait.
Yes, no thanks, B responded, after taking a look at it, adding, "I'll just burn this whole thing down." There is no turning back once Burr is involved. He wasn't only making fun of Kimmel's sense of humor, he got people to wonder why there are still late night shows. Because let's face it, late night television is barely making it. These days, who really stays up to watch these shows? At 11:30 p.m., no one under 50 is seated to listen to Jimmy Kimmel talk politics while posing as a high school teacher. Authenticity is what people seek, and they can find it elsewhere. TikTok, YouTube, and podcasts. Burr's 20-minute rage about parking meters while sitting in a car would garner more attention than Kimmel's rehearsed outburst. This is what makes Burr lethal. The system is not necessary for him. The system is Kimmel. You become the target as soon as you become the system. Burr enjoys pointing out that everything is produced. As though the entire country is listening to him, Kimmel shakes his hands and smiles at the camera like a cruise ship performer. Burr simply made a bluff call. Late-night hosts are no longer cultural leaders, he reminded everyone. They provide ambient noise when folding clothes. Burr didn't stop there either. He criticized Kimmel's Hollywood cocoon's phony relatability and smugness.
Folks, you have this clip, Rob? Eviscerates effing idiot internet trolls who say the LA wildfires were mismanaged. Okay. He is on which show? With Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad he has his name tag on in case we forget it. So and go ahead, Rob. Play this clip with Bill Burr.
Liberal.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's very good to see you. I heard you had to evacuate your home.
Yes. Like most people, I had to. I got lucky. The winds moved, but the fire was coming and all that stuff. So I feel lucky.
Kimmel's everyman act is outdated. Let's face it, having a mansion, 20 writers on staff, and celebrity buddies on rapid dial means you can't play Mr. Average Guy. The lie was exposed by Burr, who tore it apart like a child opening a renowned birthday present. It's ironic that Kimmel was once considered edgy. He went through the whole man show phase. He was frequently politically incorrect, uncivilized, and even divisive. However, at one point, he exchanged that benefit for applause. He became the perfect conversation show host, ruthless, trustworthy, and eager to win over everyone. However, Burr's dislike of humans has allowed him to earn a life. People adore him because of this. It's humor's contradiction. You get funny the more you stop worrying what other people think of you. Consider it this way. At the bar, Burr is the one who expresses what everyone else is considering but is scared to express. To make sure his jokes won't offend anyone, Kimmel, who works at the same bar, practices them in front of the restroom mirror. Burr had already roasted the bartender, set the building on fire, and run away with everyone applauding when Kimmel cracked his joke. The enormity of the damage damages Kimmel's reputation. The videos of him crying on camera, the over-rehearsed celebrity moments, the embarrassing attempts to blend in with the younger generation. Burr's tirade has made everything seem absurd.
Everybody did a great job.
Great job.
Unlike the internet,
Yeah, right. I know. It's right.
Oh my God! All of these fire experts. Why didn't you just fly a helicopter into the ocean and then just? I don't know, because there was a.
The thing about Burr's blows is they don't fade. They linger. Every time Kimmel cracks a grin or stumbles through a punchline, Burr's roast echoes in the back of your mind. You can't ignore it. It's like discovering the emperor has no clothes, only here, the emperor has no sense of humor. And the best part? Burr didn't need a desk, a studio, or even a stage. If he dropped those lines while standing in line at Dunkin', the impact would still outweigh Kimmel's entire season. That's what authenticity looks like. Burr's comedy is nuclear, powerful, unfiltered, impossible to forget. Kimmel's monologues, by contrast, sparkle for a second like cheap fireworks, then vanish into smoke. The mismatch is almost laughable. On one side is Burr, the junkyard dog of stand-up, gritty, relentless, and able to turn everyday frustration into Olympian-sized tirades. On the other is Kimmel, who has spent years turning late night into a bedtime routine for people who want laughs without risk. This wasn't a clash, it was Mike Tyson stepping into the ring with a middle school gym teacher, still full from turkey lunch. Kimmel plays it safe. Safe interviews, safe jokes, safe scandals. The only danger he poses is putting you to sleep before the first commercial break.
That is the key thing that is happening with the Trump situation right now. They all need him for business. They can say they hate him, but if you turn on MSNBC at any point during the day, they're talking about Trump. You turn on CNN any time of the day, they're talking about Trump. You turn on any of these late night quote unquote comedy shows, they are talking.
He doesn't require focus groups, network approval, or carefully polished scripts. Burr has something far more dangerous, a flamethrower and the freedom to use it. He's a free agent, unchained, unfiltered, and utterly unpredictable. And he just turned that fire directly toward Kimmel's empire. That's why the moment felt so satisfying, because it wasn't just a jab at a late night host. It was a direct strike against the institution itself, the machine that props him up, the glossy facade of approved humor that pretends to be edgy but is really just corporate messaging in disguise. Kimmel has become the poster child for everything people now despise about comedy. The constant pandering, the scripted relatability, the smug fake wokeness that feels like a performance rather than conviction. Burr, by contrast, is the antidote. When he rants from the back row, the entire room stirs awake. His fury feels authentic, his erratic delivery impossible to ignore. He's reckless, yes, but that recklessness is what makes him real. And that's the devastation for Kimmel. Every time he flashes his trademark smile or rolls out another joke written by a committee, people will remember Burr's fire. The critique doesn't vanish, it lingers, it haunts. Burr doesn't care about the fallout. Whether Kimmel bounces back or crumbles is irrelevant. Burr has built his reputation on lighting fires, walking away, and letting the smoke speak for itself. That's exactly why people love him. He voices what the audience can't quite articulate, takes down the untouchables, and leaves them looking painfully human. He skewers the incorruptible with a grin and a shrug as if to say, yeah, I know this is reckless, but isn't that the point? And in that moment, the whole spectacle feels less like comedy and more like liberation.